Welcome to Checkbox Games. I'm Ben.
And I'm Erin. We know not all games are for everyone, so we're here to let you know whether a game checks all the right boxes or whether it simply misses the mark.
In this video, we're talking about The Initiative from Unexpected Games, designed by Corey Konieczka.
The Initiative is a cooperative campaign game for 1 to 4 players where you take on the role of a group of kids from 1994 who find a mysterious game that requires them and you to solve a series of puzzles in order to, well, win somehow, I'm sure.
If this sounds vague, good. We won't be going into a lot of detail about this game because it hinges on secrets and discovery. We still have plenty to say though, so let's see if the Initiative checks our boxes or if this is a code not worth cracking.
So let's get into our checkboxes. For this first checkbox, I'm gonna kind of cheat because I have 2 big checkboxes that are like instant hits for me. And I wanna talk about both of them. So this game has 2 of my big checkboxes. This is a cooperative game that has puzzles. And I have not been like as excited to play a new game as I was for this one in like, I don't even know how long. And it because of that, it had a lot to live up to, right? This could either have been amazing or just completely make me like super sad. And this game, the cooperative element is right there. It has all of the classic cooperative game tropes that I love. And the puzzles are great because there's a variety of puzzles. I'm not going to tell you about them specifically, but there's word puzzles, there's number puzzles, there's deduction, there's reasoning.
There's different code breaking.
Yeah, there's
cryptex things.
Codes. It has everything. There's a lot of intuition. It's just great. Spoiler alert, I like this game.
And I think some of that greatness comes from the immersiveness. When you go through it, from the very first page of the rulebook, the story is told through a comic.
Yep.
And it directs you almost choose your own adventure style through. But when you are playing, you almost feel like there's this weight, like there's this life or death. Like it's a board game, but when you're in it,
it has stakes.
You're just like, you get to the bottom of that deck and you know that you only have a couple turns left. You start panicking and you start having to kind of solve the puzzle on a whim. And there's a few times where you have to take a guess. We had to take a guess and just go, here we go. And the feeling you get when you figure it out and the way you collect different secrets and you're like, oh my gosh, these all work together. Like, I'm so excited, right? And I just was in it. And I just wanted to go on to the next one and on to the next one. Which leads into my second huge positive checkbox for this game. The thing that really checks my box is fast setup and reset. So when you're going from, number one, when you start, it's easy to lay everything out because you don't even need to set anything up until you get to a certain page because you look at what the mission setup is for that mission and then just put it all on there. And it's real simple things. Everything is coded very well on the card and you go boom, 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 boom.
There's maybe 3 pages of rules before you start playing.
Yeah. 3 pages of rules, not rules in between missions. 3 pages of rules total.
Just start.
And then you're playing.
And then you're in the game.
Yeah.
You've started playing the game.
And then if there's something you need to learn, you might learn it as you play.
Yeah.
But the after each mission, it really just requires you to, whether you win or lose, it just requires you to wipe the map and then put the new things on. So at this point, we have played through about 50% of the campaign. And we kind of had to stop because we were like, oh no, we're going to consume this in a day because it's so easy to go, let's do one more. It's real easy to set up and you just get caught into being like, let's do one more, let's do one more, let's do one more. And it's going to have that addicting, immersive feeling.
It's like watching The Office.
Yeah, you just want to do one more. And that's great. And I love how quick it was to get in and out of a game.
Speaking of quick getting in and out, the pacing of this game is incredible. A huge check for me, and for a multitude of reasons. One reason I like the pacing is because it gives you just enough length in each mission or each chapter to feel satisfied, but it's so easy to just jump right into the next one. Just press continue and keep going. So that pacing is really nice. It just keeps you going. But also the pacing of the game itself. One thing that bothers me so much in cooperative games is when the game itself attacks you too early and you spend the entire game playing catch up. Like, who cares about, fulfilling our mission and accomplishing the win? I'm just desperately trying not to lose in a lot of games.
The game just comes out of the gate and just stomps you and breaks you right from the beginning.
This game has a built-in mechanic where it lets you kind of get ahead before the game really starts fighting back at you. And as you progress, there are other, pitfalls that happen where the game starts coming at you a little earlier, but it's never just an onslaught where you're constantly playing defense. And so you'd think like, oh, well, maybe it's going to feel too easy because the game, it's taking it too easy on you. But the second this game pivots to where the game becomes more aggressive, it, like Ben said earlier, it gets so exciting, which is my next checkbox. This game is so exciting, whether it's solving the clue, whether it's desperately taking a guess because it's getting a little too dicey and you might lose. And so you're just like, okay, we think we have it. Let's go for it. One cool thing too is this game, because there's no app involvement, it's very specifically says, if you don't get the answer verbatim perfect, you do not win the challenge. You can still move on to the next chapter, but you do not win that mission.
Yeah.
And so because of that, there's this high stakes excitement. There was one mission that we, had we not gone one extra turn each, we would have got it wrong because we didn't have it verbatim.
And very similarly, we had to guess with what we had. We didn't quite have enough information and just had to guess. And we're glad because the next card would have been the loss.
Yeah, it would have completely...
It's that moment of just like breathing and screaming and shouting, and when you figure it out...
The triumph. Like, we have screamed different times. We've gotten giddy. We've just laughed.
The moment you solve like a puzzle or you get a pattern, you're like, oh, I have it.
I have it. Yeah, and the laughter isn't because like this game is like a laugh riot, hoot nanny. You're laughing just out of that giddy
You're having
joy
fun together.
That comes with just like all of that stress just pouring out of you, and you're so happy, you're so joyful. This game is exciting.
Now, my last one is, when we talk about our checkboxes, this game really hit me with a question I couldn't answer. And that's on the topic of replayability. So there is a campaign. There is a story that follows the comic, follows the mission cards, and you are playing through.
Each mission card has one puzzle to solve, period. Once you've solved the puzzle, you know what that is forever.
And on the back of the rule book, you're tracking your progress and you're going through, and that campaign does end.
Yes.
And so it's, once you play through, you know what each puzzle for each mission is, and you've marked it off, and you know, right? If you go back, it's gonna be the same thing for mission 1.
Yeah. So you can't play through the campaign twice.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess you could.
It just wouldn't.
Why would you?
Yeah. It wouldn't be as fun. But the reason why I have a question, and don't just say, oh, I wish there was more replayability, is one, I think you get the amount of excitement you want. If people always talk about, well, I paid this much money for a game I can only play once, why would you do that? I think this game has a retail price of like $60. I feel like once you get through the campaign itself, That's like $1 an hour, or you're paying $1 for a couple.
You're not paying a lot, yeah.
Yeah, you are getting a full experience, a money's worth experience out of the box.
I'd say they say it's about maybe an 8-hour play, give or take. That's like seeing 4 movies.
Yeah.
And it costs less than the 2 of us going to the movies 4 times.
Yeah. And number 2, the other thing is there are extra content. There's extra content. There's extra missions after the main campaign. There are more puzzles for you to solve and more mysteries for you to solve, which then extends the life of the game even further than it had to, right? Even further than the story. When you look at other legacy games, when they hit the end, they're over. But I think this was like, no, here's some more puzzles for you to keep going. Yeah, so I think as much as it doesn't have a replayability of the campaign, I do think you're going to get more out of it than just the campaign missions. I think it's like, I think there's enough game here, even though it's not like, well, I can play this over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, and this isn't Forbidden Island where I've been playing it for years.
Yeah.
And I busted out, and it's a different game every time. At the same time, though, a lot of people, when they buy a game and they're like, well, I want to be able to play this forever. And it's like, well, yeah, but you have, 100 games in your collection. How often is that getting to the table? This game is getting to the table a lot until the campaign's done. So, like, I think I've played this game more than a lot of other titles in our collection.
And I'm going to feel good about it.
Yeah.
Because when it's done, it's done. And I'm going to feel like this game is complete. Maybe more than the games on our shelves right now. It's like, oh man, I wish we would have played that more and saw I wish we had time to see what else is in that game. But this, it's like, no, when we're done, we will have had a finished experience. A complete experience.
I think it's more than worth your dollars. It's not going to be a game that you play for 15 years. It is going to be a game that you get to finish.
So, let's talk about our final checkbox, and let's see if Initiative gets an old check in that final box.
I don't know. I'm kidding. I'm not even going to do it. This game is amazing. We've already said this is our favorite game we've played in the last calendar year.
Yeah.
And probably would make both of our top 10 lists of all-time favorite plays. I've had such a good time playing this game. We're only halfway through it.
There's just something about this game that draws you to it, that just captures that classic board game fun.
Yes.
It's one of those games that just makes you have fun with board gaming, and you're just like, man, this is a great experience, and you can stop and start whenever you want and still feel like you had a great time.
It's very, we didn't talk about this yet, it's very savable. You can stop where you're at and then come back to it later.
And it's really easy to find your spot.
Like when we force ourselves to clean it up and take it off the table, so we didn't stay up all night.
And I think the other big thing is that the reason why it gets checkbox is because I don't believe this is a game just for us. This is a game we have talked about. We plan to introduce to friends, and that we plan to have them play through it and let them have the same enjoyment that we get out of it.
Yeah, we want to give that. This is a game, honestly, I would buy as a wedding gift.
Yeah, to give someone and give them as an experience.
And enjoy your, beginning of your marriage. Play this really rad game and come
play
together.
this on your honeymoon and have a great time. Yeah.
But really, so if you are the type of person who likes escape rooms, if you're someone who likes spy movies, or honestly, if you're the type of person who just likes to have fun, then this is for sure going to check your boxes.